Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Licensing and Public Safety Committee. Thank you for attending this meeting on Wednesday, the 3rd of November 2021. Before we begin, can I outline some housekeeping? There are no fire alarms planned for this evening. So if the alarm does go off, please can everybody leave by the nearest exit and gather on the courtyard outside. Everybody knows where the toilets are, I assume. We're not going to have any accidents. And can I ask members to switch their phones on to silent or ideally switch them off? Just for information, this meeting is also being live streamed on the council's YouTube page. Straight to the agenda, apologies.
Yes, Chair. Apologies have been received from Councillor Roy Leese.
Thank you. Declarations of any interests. Members are reminded of their responsibility to declare any pecuniary interest in respect of matters contained in this agenda. Does anybody have any interest to declare? No. Public questions. No questions have been submitted. I'll now take items 4 to 11 minutes of the various committees as one item. Has anybody got any objections on any of the reports? No. In that case, can I have a proposer for the minute? Seconded. All in favour? Any against? No abstentions? Excellent. Therefore, straight on to item 12, introduction of the new statement of licensing policy under the Licensing Act 2003. Can I invite Nathan Housen to present the report?
Thank you, Chair. Before I dive into the report, I just want to say thank you to members for making themselves available. I know we had to move this meeting around, and that's down to the timescales associated with this policy. So thank you for making yourself available for this meeting. As the Chair set out, this is a new statement of licensing policy under the Licensing Act 2003. The purpose of the report is to advise members of the statutory review of the Council Statement of Licensing Policy and request that this committee recommends approval of the policy to full Council. The recommendation is that the Licensing and Public Safety Committee give due consideration to the report, the draft policy and the responses received during the consultation, and recommend to Council that the policy is approved and implemented on the 17th of November 2021. I'm going to move straight to paragraph 6 of the report on agenda page 40, which is the background to the report. The Licensing Act 2003 is legislation which governs alcohol sales, regulated entertainment and late night refreshment. These are the licensable activities. It's concerned with the issuing of various authorisations to carry out on these licensable activities, such as premises licences, club premises certificates, temporary event notices and personal licences. And the Act requires a licensing authority to publish a statement of licensing policy every 5 years. Chorley's current policy was last issued in November 2016, which means it's due for revision this year. The current policy has served the Council well over that period. However, a complete redraft of the policy has been carried out, taking into account that experience of the previous years. There are a number of policy changes which are fairly significant in this policy, specifically relating to those parts at paragraph 9. Number one of those is the core hour for licensable activities. So the policy states the core hours between which it would be expected that licenses will be granted. It's not a blanket policy which applies to all licenses. It's simply to give guidance to applicants when applying for a new license, the type of hours would likely or would not likely attract representation. So it's not a blanket, we will only accept these applications between these hours. 9B, there's a code of practice for drinks promotions. There are mandatory conditions imposed by the Secretary of State on all premises licences. One of those is regarding alcohol or restriction on irresponsible drinks promotions, and the policy will give a code of practice around what those drinks promotions are, what we would consider to be irresponsible drinks promotions. Significantly, that we've introduced a pool of model conditions. Every premises licence is subject to a number of conditions. These are imposed on a licence in a number of different ways. One way of which is that conditions are offered in the operating schedule when a person makes an application. Now, in the past, we've found that sometimes those operating schedules are of poor quality, or they don't quite adequately address some of the issues that we would consider. For that reason, we've created this pool of model conditions to give guidance to applicants or to the committee on hearing applications on review or variations, so that there is that pool that members or applicants are able to dip into. Now, again, it's not a pool where they're going to be blanketly applied to every condition, to every license, but it's a list of available things. And basically what we're trying to do is give guidance to applicants so that it improves the quality of the applications that we receive, and also give guidance to members when making decisions. We have consulted extensively on the policy. There are a number of statutory consultees that we must consult with before publishing our policy, and you'll find a list of those at paragraph 10. We've also carried out further consultation with every premises licence holder, every club premises certificate holder, and every personal licence holder in the borough, or everybody who's licensed with Chorley Council. So we've gone further than what we're required to do in the Act. We did receive one consultation response. So that consultation was between the 20th of September, 20th of October, and you'll see that this consultation response is contained at paragraph 11 of the report. At paragraph 12, 13, there are some comments regarding climate change, air quality, and equality and diversity contained in the report. And at paragraph 15, the comments of the monitoring officer. Chair, that's the report. I'm happy to answer any questions that members may have.
Thank you. Can I firstly thank Nathan and the licensing team for this policy. Obviously, there are some good points that have been added. I think members will find it very useful that there are some conditions that could possibly be used in future. I think sometimes at subcommittee level that we are grasping for possible ways to deal with issues. I think this gives us and the trade a good template of what could be implemented. I will open it to questions. Just before I do so, Councillor Walker has sent his apologies. He's having a few transport difficulties. So, questions from members? Councillor Fowles.
CTVs mandatory for all licensed premises?
No, in short, the way that we control those types of things is via conditions. Now, there are certainly extant licenses which haven't offered CCTV conditions in the past, and those licenses haven't been changed since they were granted. Generally now, for most licensed premises, the police will require the addition of a CCTV condition. That isn't a blanket policy, but I would say for the vast majority of licensed premises, the police would require that condition or would consider making a representation against the grant of it. So now, the vast majority, I would say, have mandatory CCTV.
Blanket, yeah. Thank you.
I'd just like to make one note. I'm sure Councillor Clifford is aware, because I've made him aware. There is now starting to be reference to climate change, and recyclable plastics have made it into the policy. I'm sure it's one small step from licensing, which we will continue to challenge officers on in the future. And I look forward to your feedback on that. If you can think of anything that we're doing and we need to do, please let us know. Therefore, if there's no further questions, can I have a proposer for this? Oh, well, we've gone off script, but great. Therefore, all in favour? I've got a second to you. Do you forget? All right. Any against? No abstentions? Therefore, that is moved. That is our last item on the agenda. I think I will be able to say to Councillor Wilson that I've beat his record. Can I thank everybody for your attendance? I know it's a difficult window that we've had to make. Licensing officers have had a particularly difficult time under COVID, even though a lot of the premises have been shut, but we've had a number of challenging cases. Thank you for your efforts, and can I thank everybody else for attending. Good evening.